Here we go off into another week. What it's going to hold, who knows? But one of the things that is important, I believe, for us to bring with us is trust. Trust. I'd like to speak on that topic today. I haven't spoken on it at length for a while. I find that for everyday life, for your spiritual life, for your day-to-day life, that trust in spirit really helps it along, really helps you in your day-to-day life. Because your day-to-day life, as it moves along the time frame, has one consistent thing happening. Anybody know what that is? Yes. Exactly. Life is a series of changes. It's a series of changes strung together with times of peace and chaos in between. That's pretty much what our life is. And just when you think you have everything established, when you have it all figured out, here it comes. Change. This is because your life is an expression of spirit. And spirit is creation. So your life is a part of creation. And creation is constantly moving you towards your ultimate, highest good. That being a full awakening, an understanding of who and what you are as a Christed being. From my recent experiences, I have found this momentum of creation can be at times quite challenging, perplexing, and can be frustrating quite often. But, as they say, that's life. Life can be challenging, frustrating, and perplexing. In between all the good parts. The majority of our life is the good parts. But the challenging parts of our life is what shows up for us in many, many, many ways. The challenging part of our life is what moves us forward. Because we're never the same after a particular change in life. We're always wiser. We're always more adept at living. We've gained more insights. We've moved along the path to a greater understanding of who we are and what life is. This is where trust comes in. Trust is a precursor to faith when faith is not readily at hand. Sometimes in the midst of change, you just can't see it. You just can't see it. You're just struggling through it, and faith isn't readily at hand. But there's trust. Even when we connect past events with our personal histories, creating fear, which puts a damper on our ability to move gracefully into faith, trust can be there. Trust will open the space in your heart to hear Spirit when it speaks. Perhaps it will be just the faintest whisper, that still small voice that, if taken to heart, will be enough. Will be that little spark that little inspiration to see you through to the next step, to whatever it is you have to do. How wonderful and powerful your life would be if you were to have that same matter-of-fact trust in Spirit as you do in your daily routine to get things done. We have our daily routine, and we trust that our daily routine is going to get done what we need to get done, do we not? We don't think of it that way, but that's what's going on. So how great would it be if we trusted God that much as we do in our daily routine to move us from here to here? What was Jesus' number one commandment? Went through this the other week. Yep. Love God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. All four aspects of your being. This is how you do that. By trusting God in all things. That's how you love God. You trust Spirit to bring you what needs to be brought to you, to inspire you with what you need to be inspired by. Two of the big questions we often wrestle with are how and why. How and why? Oh my goodness, how and why? How and why? How am I going to do this? Why me? Spirit generally says, why not? Or just because. How do I accomplish what is before me to do? The hows are generally taken care of. The hows take care of itself, with or without your help or input. But it's much easier to work with Spirit with the hows. You can figure it out. But it's much easier to be open to Spirit to help you figure it out. To bring you inspirations, ideas that you might not have had. To be open to what's going on around you, to see possibilities and potentials that you might be able to utilize in your, how am I going to do this thing? This is especially pertinent in times when you're doing all you know how to do, and nothing seems to work. Anybody ever been there? Yeah. You're doing all you know how to do. Nothing seems to work because you are trying to do it. You're not being open to the full potential and possibility of what's going on. That is when you trust Spirit to bring you to the next step that will bring you closer to your goal. You know, becomes obvious, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So, God, you take it, because I don't know what I'm doing. And very often you'll find in the process that your goal has actually changed. You thought you were doing this, but in the process of doing this, you veered off, and now you're doing that. And that is where you want to be. That is where you want to go. But you're still planning on doing this, because that is where you started. And if that is where you're going, it's why your plans weren't working. Makes sense? So be open. Trust in the Spirit. Now the why can be different. The why is the hard part. Sometimes the answer will be revealed in time. You know, hindsight. often, sometimes, there will be times when there is no answer. None. None. For some things, there is no answer as to why. And this is when we have to trust Spirit. We have to trust Spirit implicitly, and be okay in the not knowing. That's a hard place to be. Being okay in the not knowing. Because if it's not yours to know, you won't know. You have to be okay with that. That again is trusting in Spirit. Trusting in the big picture. Trusting in everything going on for the highest and best of whatever's going on. No matter what's going on in your life. I remember, I think I've told this story before, but what the heck, I'll tell it again. I was, oh, thank you. Fort Lauderdale at the time, the Fort Lauderdale church. And I was faced with a dilemma. And, I needed to do something about it. I kept asking Spirit, what can I do? What's mine to do here? Crickets. Nothing. This went on for a couple weeks. And, finally, I got a bit testy with Spirit. Spirit doesn't mind. So I said, hey, I'm talking here. I'm asking you, what am I supposed to do? Clear as a bell. And what have I said? Nothing. Exactly. I was to do nothing. I was to let the situation work itself out to a point where there was something for me to do. And that's how it worked out. I was to do nothing. So you don't always have to be doing something. Think about that. Hold that in the back of your mind. If nothing seems to be working out, you don't have to be necessarily working in the midst of it. You can be just holding the consciousness of light and love and presence in the midst of it. That's something. You're trusting that in the big picture, in the long run, all will be well. Trust. Totally rely upon simple truth. Totally rely upon simple truth. Trust empowers you to faith. It's the precursor to faith. It empowers you to faith to that faith that connects you to the one power and presence that you know is there. Now, we heard that definition of faith today. We know it's there. We know it's the power and presence of all good. It opens the door to faith because trust is faith made personal. Trust is faith made personal. It is knowing that somehow this unchangeable truth of peace, order, harmony, supply, and wholeness, well, with faith we know that it works. But with trust, you know it works for you. Sometimes, even for the best of us, that doesn't come easy. It's said that Mother Teresa said, I know God will not give me anything I can't handle. I just wish he didn't trust me so much. There are times in order to trust, we have to use our power of renunciation, which is our power of the month. Charles Fillmore, in his book Prosperity, tells us we must learn to let go, to give up, to make room for the things we have prayed for and desired. This is called renunciation or elimination. Sacrifice, it may even seem to some people, it is simply the giving up and casting away of old thoughts that have put us where we are and putting in place new ideas that promise to improve our condition. Sometimes in order to get through this change, to get through it, you can't be the person you are when it came to you. You have to give up some of your old ways, your old thoughts, your ways of perceiving things. That's how we grow. When you're able to identify and release those things, when you're able to move along and give up some of your old ways, you're giving up some of your fears in the process. And in that process, you make room for trusting God. If we're caught up in being afraid of this, that, or the other thing, where is there room for trusting Spirit? You're caught up in the fear. So we have to give some of these old ideas or perceptions up and move forward, move on. Make room for God with trust. You make room for God in it. I totally rely upon simple truth. Say that with me. Totally rely. Do it again with gusto. I totally rely. And that is something you can do every day to make your life just a little bit better. And God blesses you.